Hi, my name is Haley Rich. My elementary school Sundays consisted of Sunday school, being an altar kid at church, and family brunch. As a family, we were pretty consistent in going to church and knowing the basic story of the Bible. As I and my brothers got older, life got busier, and we became less consistent, but I still believed in Jesus. I started figuring out personal faith in middle school when I confirmed my childhood baptism, but after those classes were over, life resumed, and travel, sports, and band concerts pulled my family away from being active church members. When we were home, I was often given a choice if I wanted to go to church with my parents. But often, my crippling childhood anxiety would take over, convincing me that losing homework time would ever prevent me from being successful in life. I struggled with anxiety as a kid, having to go to therapy as a kindergartner. In high school, my family was very inconsistent church members, catalyzed by some drama that was taking place in the church leadership that my dad was trying to get involved in. But I was lucky enough to have a small group of friends that started going to Young Life midway through my senior year. I'm so appreciative of the Lord's timing at this point in my life. I was so stressed about college and moving 2 states away alone to go to college. But that's exactly when the Lord reintroduced himself in my life. I was able to go on a Young Life affiliated backpacking trip for a week through the southern mountains of Colorado. While I did suffocate myself in my sleeping bag and roll down a mountain, which is a really good story, ask me later, I finally understood what it meant to have a personal relationship with Christ. Trying to do so, I moved to Cincinnati from Michigan for school and I got involved in campus ministry. But after a semester of extreme stress and a bad experience with that campus ministry's leadership, I fell into very stereotypical college ways, using boys, alcohol, and the traditional sorority experience to distract me from my life that was completely fulfilled by my academics and my social success. I love how emphasized education was in my upbringing, but unfortunately, without faith in the gospel, it consumed my entire life. A year and a half later, I was stuck back at home in Michigan for COVID. Stuck is an over-exaggeration. I love Michigan. I started having issues with the way that I was living, but Lord willing, I moved to Utah, 1,600 miles away from everyone I know, alone on co-op. I didn't have people to impress, work wasn't very challenging, I didn't have many friends, and so I was stuck in my own brain. It was then that I truly felt the Holy Spirit lead me directly to God. I had been a member of the Kappa Delta Bible Study group chat since I joined freshman year, but never went. I went once, but it had been muted ever since. But out of the blue, I reached out, wondering if I could do a virtual call so I could attend from Utah. Of all the accomplishments in my life, this was better than my fellowship at Stanford or the consulting job that I just accepted. Having the courage, the vulnerability, and the trust in the Lord to text a group of basically strangers and explain my almost non-existing relationship with Christ. It's the greatest accomplishment in my life so far. Me, Nicole Granado, who's right there, and Sabrina Pumford, who's currently serving the Lord in New Mexico, met every week and discussed our daily readings and our developing and ever-growing relationship with Christ. I would not be the person that I am or the disciple that I am without these amazing women and the dedication that they had to me in our little Kappa Delta Bible Study trio. Of course, while I'm still a sinner, my life has been completely dedicated to Christ since that semester in Utah in the fall of 2020. I'm still an anxious person, but the relief that I have due to my relationship with Christ has been so freeing. While my life used to be consumed with a boulder ready to drop over the top of my head at any moment, I now know that Jesus is there to hold that boulder up. I just have to let him. I had a breakthrough moment this semester as I'm finishing up school and completing my capstone for graduation. I realized that my life, for the first time, isn't consumed by my academics and my success. When I got my job offer to stay in Cincinnati and do consulting after graduation, I was so happy and so grateful. Not because it's a great job that I love, which it is, but because not a month prior to receiving this offer, I was feeling such a conflict about getting invested in a church and a ministry if I was just going to graduate in a semester and leave. I was so happy because I knew that God was with me and that he had a purpose for me staying in Cincinnati. and acting on that desire to serve him and this community. As the Oakley MC would say, praise be. The people that I have met through the continuing KD Bible study and through this body of believers here at the Oaks has been transformative in my friendships and truly a gift from God to show me how to have healthy friendships and mentors. I wholeheartedly believe the gospel, and with everything that God has done for me, so undeserved, there isn't a bone in my body that I would consider not boldly committing my life to Christ. Thank you.
Haley, it's my responsibility to ask, who is Lord of your life?
Jesus Christ.
I baptize you, my sister, in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, buried with Christ in baptism, and raised to walk in the newness of life.